All right. Hello. I am Ronnie Simmons from Rose Tattoo, Richie Ramone, and the Redback Spiders, ex Faster Pussycat. And yeah, the debut Redback Spiders EP, Bite Part 1, drops worldwide November 22nd on Suburban Records.
Beautiful, Ronnie. Thanks for joining us today, brother.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No problems at all. So, as you mentioned, Ronnie Simmons and the Redback Spiders unleashed your debut EP Bite Part 1 on November 22nd. So, the countdown's on, bro. Like, how are you feeling?
I'm excited, man. I was listening over the masters this morning just before I started chatting to you, and I'm really psyched to unleash this into the world. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, look, you used to put music out there with other bands, a few of you mentioned before, but this is going to be your first one of actually your band material, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. This is the first time, yeah, in a long, long time, I'm out the front and doing my own thing. So, fronting it, I played all the guitar on the EP, sang, produced it. Johnny Martin from LA Guns played bass, and Richie Ramone played drums.
And is there any extra pressure on you, you think, like going into it? Because you're carrying this time, like it's your name and your ability there first and foremost. There's no one else to take the focus off you.
100%. Like it's a very new experience for me, like, putting myself out there like that and, realizing that, because a lot of these songs, they're straight from the heart. So, it's very different to slotting into a already existing band. And I'm enjoying it. I'm really, it's a lot to think about, and like I said, it's a new experience. But I think I've got enough gigs and experience under my belt that it's like I'm giving it a solid crack.
You have now tell us a bit more about the EP from a musical point of view and what you were going for with it.
Um, well, honestly, what I was going for was I just wanted to make a record that I'd like if I heard. Like it wasn't really premeditated to mix my influences, but I have said before, like I'm caught somewhere between CBGBs and an Australian pub. So it's, a lot of feedback I've got is like some people have gone, man, this is Aussie rock, and others have gone, this is really Ramones, and someone else just said, it's just you, man, it's Ronnie. So
That's probably the best compliment you could get.
100%.
You've released the singles Alone with You and Little Misunderstood to date. So are they a good sonic representation of what to expect, or are they just like a small piece?
I'd say it's a small piece. Like, the guitar sound and, the production across the board. I wanted an album that sounded like a representation of seeing a live band. So, every song definitely cohesively has the same guitar sound, the same instrumentation and mix, but some of the other songs are definitely going to be a little heavier. And there's some ska in there. Um, yeah. And just some, I'd say like heavy New York Dolls influence songs as well. So yeah, I'm excited to put it out. Like, it's funny. A lot of people are like, man, for a guy that seems always really happy, you're fucking pissed off. I'm like, it's got to go. It's got to go somewhere, man. Like,
And you recorded the EP at One More Time Records over in LA, mate. So how was that process and why did you choose to record it over there instead of here?
well, it came about because in 2022 I was juggling both Faster Pussycat and Richie Ramone, and I had this brief window of time where I could go in. My buddy Clay Davies, that's in Bullets and Octane, engineered it and owns the studio and mixed it. And we're like brothers, so it was one of those things. He's like, dude, of course, do it here. So I just went in between touring basically and knocked it out really, really quickly. And it's just been a process of getting everything mixed and mastered and together for the release now. But it was it started as I'm going to make a solo album. I just wanted to make a record to get the songs off my chest and get them down and out. And then now being back in Australia with the Tats and wanting to play live and get out there, like I like, it's a rock and roll band, man. I need a band behind me to do it. So that's how the Redback Spiders came into existence. So it's a vessel to perform these songs and gig in between being a tat.
It is. Now, you also play a bit of sax on the EP too, I believe. Is that true?
That's true. That's true. Like I said, there's some ska songs in there, and I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to bust the sax out because I actually started playing sax before I even touched a guitar. And
Right.
it's one of those things that I just never really, I never gave it up. I just, I played basically for myself, but come time to do this, it was like, I was going, man, be good with some horns in there. Wait, I got a saxophone. I can just do it myself.
Is that just on one song or is it over the whole EP?
Not the whole EP. It's a handful of songs. So it's on one song on this EP, and then for the next batch of songs, it's on a couple of others as well.
Right, now, how many songs are actually on the EP?
6.
All right, sweet. Now, one thing I love about you, bro, is your confidence. Like, you're coming out with a debut EP and you're calling it part one. So invariably, part two has to follow, but you already know that this is going to be that fucking good that part two is coming. I love it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was very tough to pick what the first 6 songs would be out of the bunch. So I just went with what I thought was the most honest representation and a foot forward first. And I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone thinks.
Yeah, you've been in a lot of different bands over the years, mate, and they've all been different sort of musically. So how has all that come together and influenced the sound of the Redback Spiders? And how would you define yourself if you had to?
Oh, too rock to be punk and too punk to be rock.
I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely influenced the sound. Like, there's a few, so like I said, there's some ska elements, and someone went, "Where the hell did this come from?" It's like, well, I did grow up a little punk kid, and there was a lot of ska around. But during the tail end of lockdown, I was actually living with Rick Torres, who was in the English Beat for 15 years. So it was just like that. In hindsight, seeped into the songwriting process because it was just a big ska household. But yeah, punk, ska, rock, it's just all the music I love, and it's just an accumulation. But it definitely wasn't premeditated when I wrote it. It was more a matter of after it was done going, I kind of don't know what box you could put this in. So again, hence why I'm keen to release it and see how it goes. But the first two I thought was a good starting indication. Like start with the bang and rock song, and then go in a bit more of the punk direction with Little Misunderstood, and then yeah.
Cool. So tell me, bro, how does a guy from LA playing in a band like Faster Pussycat end up in Australia playing with Angry fucking Anderson? It's one into the other.
Yeah. Well, it's like I started out here, being from here originally. Like, I had plenty of years under my belt touring and playing the pub. So it was very full circle. It's been, to be playing places like the Whiskey and touring, massive venues across the states with Faster Pussycat was a really, really cool experience, and I had a blast. But coming back and being able to play in the Tats, especially the influence they've had on me, like it really means a lot. So I've been enjoying being back and getting in touch with Australia because I was gone for basically a decade.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And do I remember rightly? Did Dan from the Poor have to fill in for you or someone else in Rose Tattoo recently?
That's correct. Dan has been filling in for me because it turns out I had a broken hand all year, didn't know, and kept playing. And I've had to have corrective surgery, but I'm back. I've got a guitar in my hands, and now a couple of screws and some metal in my hand, and I'm good to go.
How do you go? Like, I could imagine that guy would play like a motherfucker no matter who he was with.
Oh yeah, he's fucking great. Like that was another reason when he was suggested. I was like, hell yeah! Like we've been touring with the Poor already. He's a great player. He's a good mate. And I went to the Sydney show when they played with Buck Cherry, and I got to watch. And it's, as well as loving those songs to begin with, he's a fucking great guitarist. So I'm glad that he's been filling in for me and keeping my seat warm for when I'm back next year.
But enough about Dan and the Poor because they get all their own fucking attention. Ronnie Simmons and the Redback Spiders are kicking off a tour to promote the EP starting in Sydney on November 21st. You hit Brisbane, Bendigo, and Melbourne, then finish back where it all started in Sydney on December 14th, mate. So what can we expect from Live Trade? There's going to be a lot of people out there who haven't seen you, mate. So what can we expect?
It's just going to be an in-your-face, high-energy rock. Like I said, too rock to be punk, too punk to be rock. It's a high-energy show. And, just all the things I love about the music I've been playing with other bands, I've just been channeling in my own. Like, Marshall stacks, loud, real guitars, in your face, lots of energy, and yeah, keen to get up and do it.
Yeah. I understand that your touring band isn't the same band that played on the EP. Is that correct?
That's correct. Because yes, like I said, when I recorded the record, I hadn't actually come back here yet and wasn't sure what it was going to become. If it was just going to be a record I put out, and then, like I said, when it was time to, I wanted to gig. I figured, as well as just putting the record out, I want to play these songs live. And the band, like Hayden McGugan and Sean Anderson, that are on guitar, me and those guys go way back. And Chip Scanu, that's on drums, is a phenomenal drummer. The guy's incredible. And Tommy Hills, it's on bass as well. Like I basically just, you know, through catching up with everyone moving back to Australia, was like, all right, these are the guys. We got in a rehearsal room, rehearsed it up, and now we've been getting out there and doing it.
Right, and am I correct in remembering that the Brisbane show at least is free entry?
Yes, correct. At Greaser Bar.
That's just Brisbane, or a few of them?
Yes, part of the website. It's because it's free entry.
Beautiful. Well, before I let you go, we've started a new thing at Heavy called Photo Bomb. So basically, before I chat with you, I troll through your social media and I find a few photos that I want to know a little bit more about.
Oh, this is going to be funny.
So I've got this one, mate. Like, that is some serious fucking hang time there.
Yeah, Buenos Aires, Argentina, one of my favorite cities to play in the world. I remember that gig very well.
Who are you playing with?
Richie Ramone.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that's Richie Ramone behind the kit right there. And I can't remember what song that was. I do that a lot. But yeah, that was Buenos Aires, Argentina. And I'm guessing 2016, if I remember correctly.
And tell me, bro, have you ever done yourself a mischief jumping around like that? Like, they're pretty tight jeans and there's a lot going on fucking around that area.
I got a really funny story on that note. When I was playing with Faster Pussycat, and we did Dr. Pepper Park in Roanoke, Virginia, and it was like us, LA Guns, Tom Kiefer, thousands of people. And during the second song, we did Cat House, and me and Sam Bam, the other guitarist, would do these dueling kind of guitar licks. And he ran over and jumped on the PA speakers on his side. So, and we were both wireless. I went, fuck yeah, I'm going to do that too. My PA wasn't strapped down. I ate shit in front of like 4,000 people and fell in the second song. And it was, and not to mention, like the rest of the week, I was like, okay, I haven't broken my leg, but it feels like I have. Like I was limping and everything. And afterwards, I was just like, oh man, I can't believe I did that. And the fans were like, man, the look on your face was hilarious. All it looked like was, no, my guitar. And then ran.
Reckon they set you up for that, mate? You reckon it was a stitch up?
I hope not. If it was, well played. That's fucking hilarious.
And I've got one more for you here. Like,
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of fucking
hell yeah.
fun picture, bro.
Yeah, that was Rod Laver in Melbourne when the Slash tour earlier this year, just after soundcheck. That was cool.
I've got to say though, mate, I was starting to think you weren't a bad bloke, and then I see the shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, in Melbourne too. I'm brave, huh?
You are brave. I'm an Essendon supporter, mate, so I've got.
It's all good, man.
So how does it go? Like, you obviously get to go backstage and stuff at shows like that with Slash. Like, do you talk much shop back there, or is it just like a more of a sort of social catching up of mates? And
Oh, it's a bit of both. Like, because me and Slash actually have a close mutual friend in LA called Robert John. Like, he was who shot all Guns N' Roses photos. He did the Appetite for Destruction photo, all that stuff. And he became a really close mate of mine, like when I first moved out there. So we're in our dressing room, and I hadn't met anyone yet. And this was the first time I'd actually met Slash when we became mates. He opened the dressing room door and came in and said hi to everyone. And he just goes, "We have a mutual friend. Robert says hi." And I was like, "Oh, hi Slash, pleasure to meet you." And then it was, and then him and Angry started telling stories from back in the day, and it was all just smiles, man. It was really, really cool.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for your time, Ron. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Ronnie Simmons and the Redback Spiders will release part 1 on November 22nd. The tour kicks off in Sydney the day before. Get out and get some good old-fashioned rock and roll up here and have a good time, mate. I'll see you in Brizzy.
Hell yeah. Thanks, mate. Great chatting. Appreciate it.